Oh yes, we are back! Yes, over the next few weeks we will be looking at Series 2 of the Animals of Farthing Wood TV series, which ran from January to March of 1994, the same year I was born in, and a year which I hesitate to claim may possibly be one of the best or worst in media, sadly. Though we'll pay close attention to see which one this one belonged in, shall we? Series 2 of Farthing Wood was based off 3 of the books in the series, the direct sequel to the original, Winter, one of the most beloved of the series, Fox's Feud, and one of the most unique, The Fox Cub Bold, and the series attempted to incorporate elements from Winter and Feud together a bit in some of the earlier episodes to create a more intense and complex narrative, though some would argue a bit too complex, but we'll get into that in the journey ahead. And some of the novel, The Siege of White Deer Park, was also incorporated into this and the next series, as the whole novel itself was considered too dark to use as a central plotline. Yes, you heard me right. The series where this happened considered this book to be too dark to be turned into a TV series. You can kind of tell that this is the point when they started stocking these books in the young adult section of the libraries. Though in my opinion, the real reason why they probably didn't adapt this into the series is, 1, it's probably the least interesting of all the books, and 2, it would have been a bit too complex to incorporate into their own universe, considering how much they changed stuff from the novel. This was also the first series to attempt to implement a little bit more censorship than the last, though mostly in its later episodes. But even with that, this has become one of the most infamous amongst fans for being the darkest and grim series in the show as a whole. For better or for worse? Well, we'll have a look at that as we go along as well. Once again, this is purely just my opinion, and nothing here has been sanctioned by the BBC, the EBU, or Colin Dan's estate as the official final word on what this series is like and whether or not it's actually a good series or not. If you actually do want to give your own 2 cents on this, which I highly welcome and encourage, then that's what we have that and this for. I'm also going to try and attempt to make these videos a little bit shorter than the other ones. Now don't worry if you like the pacing in my older videos, I'm still going to go at that kind of pace and take my time to address what I can and I think is necessary. I just think that there's less of a need to address absolutely everything in this series, particularly considering that a lot of the elements in this series are basically continuations from the previous in terms of story, characters, animation and themes, and there are a lot of points in here where there are just elements where they have no impact on the main narrative whatsoever, so it's a lot easier to just skip those. But if anything in this series does change or add to those previous elements, I will obviously try to address them as best as I can and either make a critique or just a joke on them. But I feel like you hear my voice not enough in what's supposed to be, like I said, a critique and a riff of this series. But then again, the gaps that are there are filled with a great show anyway, so it's all good. And of course, the main reason why I brought you all here, and the reason I'm here for you guys, is to just have some fun. So obviously I'm going to be trying to make an attempt to throw out as many jokes as I possibly can, but also making a conscious attempt to try and not step on too many eggshells as I always do. But of course, if you like what you see, then feel free to spread the word and like and share. If there's stuff you think that I can do better or things that you think do work well that I should continue, leave a comment. And if you just want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. And now that the shameless self-promotion is over and done with, we now triumphantly make our return to White Deer Park on the back of the Red Fox taxi service in the first episode of Series 2, A Hero's Welcome.